Hello friends, today I am going to take classical and statistical theory of solids and superconductivity. Let us begin with classification of solids based on energy band structure. Based on energy band structure, solids are classified as insulators, semiconductors and conductors. Before going to study in detail, let us understand what is this energy band structure. Energy band structure consists of valence band and conduction band separated by some forbidden energy gap. And this forbidden energy gap is going to differ for different materials and decides what type of a material it is. At absolute zero temperature, the valence band is full of electrons whereas the conduction band is empty. No electrons are found in it. To get current flow in a material, the electrons from valence band should race to the conduction band. This can be achieved by supplying an external energy. External energy can be an electric field or heat energy. Once we apply an external energy, the electron from valence band will race to the conduction band and these electrons will rise to current flow in a material. Now let us study about these three materials. Insulators. Insulators are those materials which do not conduct electric current at ordinary temperatures. The resistance offered by these materials is very large. In insulators, the valence band is full of electrons whereas the conduction band is empty. No electrons are found in it. The forbidden energy gap is very large. It is around 5 electron volt. The energy required to shift an electron from valence band to conduction band is very high. Hence, it is not possible to provide that amount of energy at ordinary electric field. One can achieve electrical conduction in insulators with a very high voltage, so that voltage it is referred as breakdown voltage. Examples you can take wood, rubber, oil, etc. Semiconductors. These are the materials whose conductivity lies between insulators and conductors. The forbidden energy gap is very small, it is around 1 electron volt. At absolute zero temperature, it behaves as insulator. Once we apply an external electric field, the electron will race to the conduction band and behaves as a conductor. Example you can take as silicon and germanium. Now conductor. These are the materials which conduct electric current whenever the potential difference is applied across them. The resistance offered by these materials is very small. The valence band is completely filled of electrons whereas conduction band is partially filled. The forbidden energy gap is overlap. So we can tell here in other words no forbidden energy gap in such materials. So the electron can easily flow from valence band to the conduction band. The small energy is sufficient to make an electron to race to the conduction band. Examples you can take metals. Next we will study classification of conducting materials based on their conductivity. Conducting materials are those materials which conduct electricity whenever the potential difference is applied across them. The most important property of this conducting material is resistivity. We know the relation here, resistance is directly proportional to length and inversely proportional to its area of cross section. Remove the proportionality constant, so that proportionality constant is known as resistivity. That is rho equal to Ra by L ohm meter. The reciprocal of electrical resistivity will give rise to electrical conductivity. That is sigma equal to 1 by rho per ohm meter. The classification is done based on their conductivity are zero resistivity materials, low resistivity materials, high resistivity materials. Zero resistivity materials are those materials which conduct electricity almost with a zero resistance below the transition temperature. These materials are perfectly diamagnetic. Example, superconductors. These materials are used for energy saving in power systems, memory storage elements, etc. Second one, low resistivity materials. These materials which has a very high electrical conductivity in the order of 10 raised to 8 per ohm meter. Example, you can take metals and alloys. These are used as resistor, conductors, electrical power transmission and distribution. Next, high resistivity materials. These materials have high resistivity and low temperature coefficient of resistance. Example, tungsten, platinum, etc. You can take it. They are used as heating elements, thermometers. Classical free electron theory or Drude-Lorentz theory. In this theory, it explains about concept of free electron. We all know that metals are the good conductor because of its free electrons. In an atom, it consists of core electrons as well as valence electron, and this valence electron is loosely bonded to the respective parent atom. In a metal, the atoms are arranged such a way that each atom, the boundaries are overlap with each other. Because of boundary overlapping, the core electron doesn't have any effect, whereas the valence electron has an effect. It finds a way to jump from one atom to the another atom. So like this, the valence electrons are moving from one atom to another atom throughout the metal. So such valence electrons which are free to move are called free electrons. And these free electrons are not belonging to any particular atom, instead it belongs to the whole body. These free electrons will show the bulk properties like electrical conductivity as well as thermal properties. The free electrons which are responsible for electrical conduction are called as conduction electrons. In a metal, though the electrons are moving freely, but it is not able to measure the current because these electrons are moving in a random manner, because the collision between the electrons and the lattice ions. To get the current flow, the metal should be subjected to the applied electric field. That is, it acquires the drift velocity. That is, we can tell the displacement per unit time. Based on all these criteria, the classical free electron theory has given 4 assumptions. First, in a metal there are freely moving valence electrons called as free electrons confined to its body. That means it doesn't belong to any particular atom, instead it belongs to the whole body. The electric current in a metal due to an applied field, that is, in the consequence of drift velocity, in a direction opposite to the direction of field. Second assumption, the free electrons are treated as gas molecules and it is assumed to obey the kinetic theory of gas. In the absence of electric field, the energy associated for each electron at a temperature T will be 3/2 kT, where K stands for Boltzmann constant, and this energy is made equivalent to the kinetic energy. That is 3/2 kT equal to half mv square, where V stand thermal velocity, because we are seeing in the absence of electric field. And this thermal velocity is equal to the RMS velocity. Third, the electric potential due to ionic cores is taken to be a constant throughout the metal. Fourth one, the attraction between the free electrons and the lattice ions and the repulsion between the electrons themselves are neglected. They are not considered so important. Failures of classical free electron theory. Though the classical free electron theory easily explained electrical and thermal property, but it was failed to explain specific heat, temperature dependence of electrical conductivity, and dependence of electrical conductivity on electron concentration. Now let us study specific heat. The molar specific heat of a gas molecules at a constant volume is Cv equal to 3 by 2 R, where R is a universal gas constant. This is with the theoretical production. As per the classical free electron theory, the free electrons are behaving as the gas molecules. So whatever the gas molecules are obeying, it should be obeyed to the free electrons also. But experimentally, the specific heat for a free electron, it was found that Cv equal to 10 raised to minus 4 RT. So which is very lowest value compared to the expected value. And it is also going to depend with the temperature. So from equation 192, the theoretical and experimental values are not agreed. So hence it becomes failure. Second one, temperature dependence of electrical conductivity. We all know that experimentally conductivity is inversely proportional to 1 by T. This is with the experimental. Theoretically, as per second assumption of classical free electron theory, we know the equation 3 by 2 kT equal to half mv square. Then from this we can get here thermal velocity equal to under root of 3 kT by m, where k stands Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature and m is the mass of the electron. By this we understand thermal velocity is directly proportional to the square root of T. Now we know the relation electrical conductivity equal to Ne square tau by m, that is sigma equal to Ne square tau by m, where n stands electron concentration, E stands charge of electron, tau is mean collision time and m is the mass of electron. And here we know that mean collision time is inversely proportional to its velocity. Mean collision time is the time elapsed between the successive collision with that of the electron and the lattice ion. So by this we can understand collision time is inversely proportional to the square root of T. Now substituting tau in a equation sigma, we can get sigma is inversely proportional to 1 by square root of T. So again comparing from equation 192, that is experimental value and theoretical value, they are not agreed. Hence it becomes failure. Third, dependence of electrical conductivity on electron concentration. Again by making use of sigma equal to Ne squared tau by m, with this relation we can understand electrical conductivity is directly proportional to the electron concentration. That means if electron concentration is more, its conductivity should also be more. Now let us see here the metals. Now we will take here three metals and its respective valence electron, and we will see here, we will compare the electron concentration and its conductivity. For example, between copper and aluminium. In a copper atom, each atom is giving rise to one free electron for conduction. So its electron concentration is 8.45 into 10 raised to 28 per meter cube, and its electrical conductivity is 5.88 into 10 raised to 7 per ohm meter. And for the aluminium, you can see here each atom is giving rise to 3 electrons for conduction, and its electron concentration is 18 into 10 raised to 28. And its conductivity is 3.6 into 10 raised to 7. Now comparing copper and aluminium, you can see here the aluminium electron concentration is more, but you see here conductivity is less compared to the copper. So why this is getting? So this is not able to answer properly. Similarly, you can see for aluminium and cadmium, aluminium is again 18 electron concentration, and cadmium, here you can see each atom is giving rise to 2 electrons for conduction, and its electron concentration is 9.28 and its electrical conductivity is 0.15 into 10 raised to 7. Now between aluminium and cadmium, when we compare, they are agreed, but when we see for copper and aluminium, they are not agreed. So with this we can understand it doesn't give any clear relation between sigma and n, it is how. So that's why it becomes failure. Assumptions of quantum free electron theory. Quantum free electron theory has also given here 4 assumptions. First assumption, The energy values of conduction electrons are quantized, that is, making severe restrictions on the energy values for an electrons. And this can be done only when the electron is subjected to an electric field. That is, here after absorption of energy, the electron should go and occupy to the particular energy level only. And the allowed energy values are realized in terms of set of energy levels. Second assumption, the distribution of electrons in various allowed energy level are done according to Pauli exclusion principle. That means each level can accommodate here maximum of 2 electrons with the opposite spin. The 2 electrons can have the same energy. Third assumption, the electric potential due to ionic cores is taken to be a constant throughout the metal. Fourth, the attraction between the free electrons and the lattice ions and the repulsion between the electrons themselves are neglected.